Everybody, this is a Flat Cap Cafe Racer on a ride today. Going to do the lunch ride and got Mr. Bill up in front. Mr. Bill, wave. Yeah, Mr. Bill's waving. And we're headed over to Horseshoe Bend. Mr. Bill's going to continue to drive like Granny up there. Mr. Bill, have you heard of Marc Marquez, the racer, the MotoGP racer? No, he's been a world champion several times. I think 4 times. And he's had a lot of accidents, and it's caused him some double vision problems. So they're getting ready to, I think Sunday they're going to be running a GP race at Austin, Texas. It's called the COTA, Circuit of the Americas. And he's supposed to come back for that one. He's missed the last couple because of the double vision problems. And everybody's really excited for him because he's won the last 7 of 8 races at Circuit of America. In fact, he hasn't lost one. The only one he didn't win was the one he was injured, he couldn't participate in. So everybody's looking, saying, oh, what a great, this is a great time for him to come back. And I'm going, man, I think it's a terrible time, because the expectations, his expectations and everybody else's expectations are really high that he's going to go out and win his thing. Well, no, he's been cleared of the double vision problem, but he hasn't had practice time. The bike, he's a little rusty to start with because he was hurt a lot of last year, and the bike, it doesn't work real well for him, right now. So, and he has a tendency to be he rides very aggressively. He does. His kind of philosophy is more of he's going to win or he's going to knock the hell out of everybody else to do it, and he doesn't mind crashing. So I think it's, probably the best thing for him to do is to, if he just did a nice sane pace, finish 7th or 8th, get his skills back, knock off the rust. But he'll go out there and try to win it thing. And probably the worst thing for in the world would be for him to win it, because then he's kind of like Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods, gets leg problems, back problems. He wins a tournament, and all of a sudden everybody's excited that he's back and he's going to dominate like he did. But I think that'd be the worst thing for him to do, is to actually win the doggone thing, because the expectations for him and everybody else will be sky high then. Oh yeah, there's no doubt that he's got the skills, but he rides in such a hard manner that he bumps, and if he's up in front, he just kind of runs away from him. But if he's behind you, he does some dangerous passing, and that's what a lot of people like about him, is his aggressive style. And I like the aggressive style. And my son Jeremy, we were talking MotoGP. He doesn't know much. He knows the F1 stuff, and he knows a little bit about MotoGP. And he's saying, well, he says, Daddy, sounds like the way you used to race. And he's a hell of a rider, don't get me wrong. He's a hell of a rider, but I think it's a little dangerous to everybody out there. No, I didn't have any skills. I was all heart. I grind the foot pegs and lift the rear tire off the pavement. Yeah, I could do that, but I didn't have any. It was. Somebody should have took me aside and said, "You need to sit down and calm down, young man." I think he could win this year if he would just settle for some, you know, third, fourth, fifth, something like that, you know, and just gradually get back into the swing of things. This is the third time he's had it. He had it when he first started. Then he had a really big high side. Well, he had a big crash. It hurt his arm, and he had some double vision out of that. Then about a month ago, I think, he had a big high side at a race. I mean, it was a practice. I'm sorry, in a practice. And they didn't let him run, and he had double vision again, but not as bad. But they've cleared him for this one, and for his sake, I just hope he just, you know, doesn't try to continue to do what he's been doing. If everybody had to pick who was the #1 rider out there, I think everybody would pick him. He rides for Honda. Yeah, he got his. They got the sentence, and it appears that the UK justice system kind of works like ours. If you you're famous and you're an upper class, can get away with just about anything. His sentence was 8 months in prison, but they commuted it, and he got 2 years on probation. So if he doesn't do anything, committing any more crimes in 2 years, he'll never serve the 8 months. No, he got a 20,000 pound fine. And he may not have to pay that because he declared bankruptcy in like May of last year. So all that $11 million pounds that he absconded with them from the pensioners, he cheated his employees, he caused dealers to go out of business, and he took customers' money that he had no intention of building their motorcycle for. He's got, and the judge took into consideration that he feels bad about doing it. Can you imagine that? I mean, nope, it's not fair. I think he should spend a lot more than 5 years in jail. Well, they sold, but see, the other part of it was, right before he went, they got him completely for, I think they finally discovered him when they were doing audits. The government was doing audits, and he wasn't paying any of the taxes and stuff. But he sold off one of the engine designs to China, I believe. But you know, they've got the assets, but just think about all the suppliers he stiffed also. There's a lot of suppliers that didn't get their money either. And he wasn't the only one in the company. There's a lot of management guys that needed to go to jail too, because they knew what was going on. You know, the guys are running the floor out there, and they're taking parts off of customers' bikes and putting it on new bikes. They knew what they were doing too. He made a lot of people look bad, you know. You know, the people that work for him, people that race for him. John McGinnis was a Norton guy, great reputation. He made McGinnis look pretty bad, because McGinnis was, you know, kind of stumping it for him. He made a lot of the motorcycle guys in the industry look bad because they were believing him too. But he's the one that kind of drove the dealers, you know, like my friend out on Triumph, South Bay Triumph, out of business because he didn't honor the warranty claims, and the dealers did, you know, that. Yeah. He was doing, and they were promising that they're going to, you know, reimburse him, but they never did. you know, I don't know how they're going to sell it over here, because you got to get people that will distribute the bike. Then you got to get people that believe that they're going to back up the warranty. And you know, even though the guys that own it now have a pretty good reputation, I don't know that they can overcome the negative that we've seen with these bikes over the years. But it's a nice looking bike, but you know, it's I think the 961's like $20,000 something dollars. That's a lot of tacos, and it's not as fast as my Thruxton. We're in southern Idaho. We haven't had a lot of rain this winter, not as much as we usually have, or as much snow. More importantly, the snow. So the snowpack has not been as high. It's going to fill our reservoirs up to about 50 or 60%, and we use the reservoirs to for the farmers to irrigate the fields, and and people use the rivers for recreation quite a bit, for fishing, floating, and things like that around here. And I think the river's going to be down a lot this year. I think the farmers are going to have a hard problem because they're not going to have a lot of water. Although that irrigation that river over there looks pretty good. This is Flat Cap Cafe Racer. Thanking you for coming along on a ride with me, Mr. Bill, and look forward to going out and doing some other things here coming up pretty soon. Stay tuned. Join me and my friends at Flat Cap Cafe Racer for riding and racing. Please subscribe.